in the same realm with the Warriors win and their game against the Spurs. This win actually propelled the Warriors to a record of 72-9. So now that we see this, now that they tied the Bulls record essentially, and they have one more game Wednesday night against the Memphis Grizzlies. There are no more back-to-backs. They'll have a few days of rest, and their game is going to be on ESPN1, and then Kobe's final game will be on ESPN2. How do you guys think the importance of this 72 wins is, as a record now that they tie the Bulls record? Rashard, what's up with you? What do you think about it?
As an importance, so basically as for the Golden State Warriors to break it.
Well, I guess,
or just as a record.
As a record.
It's important to it. I mean, it's important to anybody, because at the same time you look at it like your name is now in history as that team to be the second team to accomplish 70 wins and accomplish tying the team that people say is the greatest team of all time.
Yeah.
So when you look at something like that, when you hit 72, it's just like, yeah, we made it. We've set ourselves with them. We put ourselves in the same category as them. So if from the Warrior standpoint, yeah, it's like I feel like it's an important record, because that's a record that's one of the most difficult records as we've seen to accomplish. Mm-hmm. Because nobody done it until the Bulls hit, like nobody even had 70 wins until the Bulls hit 72, and nobody hit it since. Mm-hmm. So it's years before and years after where there's just something that was just astronomical that haven't been performed. So you're looking at that and how great it is. Now coming into this last game, how I feel like they have a chance to solidify their number one spot as the sole record holder, and I feel like that's going to be what motivates them, because here at this point the Bulls was 71-10 coming into the 82 game. This is how they 72. So you're looking at it now like the Warriors. I feel like this game probably more important than a championship to them right now in this moment. So as an overall, the record is just a phenomenal record for anybody to hold, have a chance to experience. I wish I could have witnessed the 95-96 Bulls getting the record, but at the same time I was like 3, so can't really say I knew what basketball was all that much at this time, where I understand what the importance of the record was, how significant it was. But seeing it now, seeing how great of a record it is, I understand like the importance of it overall.
All right, Colin, right before you go, I'm gonna read out a promo alert actually for Lucas Graham. Will be at the Norva April 24th at 7:30. Tickets are still available for purchase, but WODU wants you to come out to our event, Battle of the Bands at Work Release, for your chance to win a pair of tickets. Work Release was located off of Granby, and the event will be held April 14th from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And winners will be chosen on the night of the event. And Lucas Graham will sing his hit, the single 7 Years, at the event. So make sure y'all come out and tune into Lucas Graham on April 24th, and also the WODU event, Battle of the Bands, on April 24th at Work Release. All right, Khaled, go ahead.
I think the importance of this win is significant because it gives this newer generation of like basketball fans, a team like the Bulls. Like just the Warriors beating the Bulls or tying the Bulls record at this point shows us that there's a team, in history that's aligned with the Bulls' greatness and potential. This Warriors team is just something that's phenomenal to watch. Something just an amazing team. And for us to have that this like generation or whatever, it gives us the experience that we missed watching, like if we didn't get the chance to watch the Bulls, the 95 and 96 Bulls. Now we have a team that we can watch, which is just as exciting and who are just as get just as outrageous or great as the Bulls. I do think that they will beat their record at this point, because after they beat the Warriors at home, not the Warriors, the Spurs at home, and Memphis, I know that they can take another win and beat the record. So just seeing this team and them being such a good team this season and having them beat the record is just an amazing thing for younger kids in this generation and people growing up just inspired by the Warriors team and Stephen Curry and all that.
Yeah, this 72 win season is definitely something that I think it shouldn't be taken for granted, because even now they're advertising a Bulls mixtape or DVD kind of thing for their 95-96 season. And that team was so I asked, because obviously at the point in time I was two years old at the point in time where the Bulls had their season. So I have to ask people like my dad and
What was it like?
my mom, what was it like? And my dad just tells me they were like a rock band. Like he said the way you tune in, he said honestly, just look at how you watch the Warriors now. But the only thing with the Bulls was the Bulls had the Jordan mystique with them because Jordan had just came back from his retirement, and the year before they had lost to the Orlando Magic. And so that was the thing. Like they were 3-time champions to the point, at least Jordan was, and this is his first full season back. And before that he was number 45 and everything. Like then he comes back and they have this season, and he switches back to 23, and that was the mystique behind this season. And then this season for the Warriors, even in the storylines that you read it, people would say, oh, if Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, and stuff were healthy in the finals, they might have won the finals. Whether that's true or not, we never know. But they'll say that the Warriors had an easy road to the finals because they didn't have to play teams with their starting point guards. I mean, and then the Warriors came out with that. I feel like they had a bulletin board, and if the bulletin board material was just never ending for them because people just continue to disrespect them, partially because I believe because they're a jump shooting team, and people felt as though they should disrespect them like this. But we've never seen this level of dominance from any team, whether it was the Lakers from the 2000s to 2003, with Shaq and Kobe. We've never seen this level of dominance. When we go back to the old Celtics teams with Bird, Parrish, McHale, Bill Russell, even the Laker teams with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and those guys, we've never seen this level of dominance. Even the teams with George Mikan and Wilt Chamberlain and stuff like that, we've never seen this level of dominance. So it's one of those things that you can't. I feel it sucks because I feel as though the younger kids. I never forget when I heard Draymond Green's interview after the game. He said I would watch games when I was like, I'd watch games when I was 6, and I didn't hold them with the same value and stuff as I do now. Like I watched a game when I was 13, and I didn't realize what I was watching at that point in time. And I remember, I can even say when I watched Kobe's 81-point game, and watching it back when I was younger versus when I watch it now, as being older, I watch it now and I'm like, wow, that in that moment when you're watching, you don't even realize what you're watching. You see all the ESPN alerts and stuff, and you're seeing all this stuff go about Kobe drops 81 and stuff. Now when you're older and you see Stephen Curry could drop 50 or something, and you'll get the alert, and it's like it's blistering through ESPN and stuff. So imagine when Kobe dropped 81 and things like that. When Kobe dropped 61 in Madison Square Garden, and so it's one of those things that the 72, and it's been a mark that nobody's even. I mean, we've seen teams win 60-something games. When the Warriors won 67 games last season, and you see teams do that, and that's legit. That's 5 wins away from getting 72, and so you see how difficult it is. So you honestly can't take it for granted. It's like you have to relish the moment you're in and being able to watch it. A lot of people are going to try and compare this team to the Bulls team, and they're just 2 different teams in 2 separate eras, but the fact is they're both great. They're both dominating their era that they're in. And I have to say it's definitely special to watch, just like y'all both said. I mean, do you guys have anything else to say about him?
One stat line we forgot to mention dealing with the Warriors coming in was how Steph Curry wasn't really deserving of the MVP, really, more so James Harden was in a sense. So a lot of people saying James Harden was the real MVP and that Steph Curry, basically had to earn it this season to make up for what he did. Yeah, to make up for last season. So you look at stuff like that too, and that was a storyline coming into the season. Like, did Steph Curry really deserve the MVP, or did James Harden do more to earn it, type thing? And we need to see more from Steph Curry, which is kind of leader to the case where he's still the most improved player and MVP, but we probably won't get them both. And
I think that's crap. Honestly, I honestly think that's crap because I mean, I get it. I get the whole case that everybody makes for CJ McCollum and everything. But if you want to talk about most improved in production and everything, look at Steph Curry's minutes versus his minutes last season. But look at his jump in production and his jump in player efficiency rating. It's astronomical. And it doesn't make any sense how better improved he is at shooting, as a ball handler, as a player, as a defender. Look at all the ways he's improved. And then I'm even looking at, you look at parallels between this team and that 72-10 Bulls team. At this point, for the Bulls, Jordan was averaging 30 points and 30.4 points, and he dang, Jordan was nice. But you look at he's shooting relatively 50% from the field. He shot 42% from 3-point range, and he shot 83% from the free throw line. Then you look at Stephen Curry, and Steph at this point is averaging 29.9 points. Steph's nice too.
Yeah.
shooting 90% from the free throw line. Whoa. And then he's shooting 50.2% from the field. And wow.
Yeah, his
3-point percentage is 45.2%.
Hey, so other than Jordan had on was 30.4.
Yeah.
So all Steph Curry gotta go do now is drop 55.
I mean, he can do that.
55. He has the same stats as Jordan. That's all you gotta do.
That is. Is it really 55?
Nah, it's not 55. I'm just saying, like, there's no way unless he has a 100-point game, he's gonna go from 29.9 to 30.4. That's just too big of a jump. But still, the 3-pointer, field goal, and
you never know. He might drop 81.
Nah.
he even said that he doesn't. The way the Warriors play, Kobe had to do it.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Kobe's team was so bad. Kobe had to.
Come on,
they suck. There's no being nice about it. They suck.
Come on.
There's no being passive aggressive about it. Kobe's team wasn't up to the standard of Steph's. No, they sucked. That's what it was. They sucked. They only were in the first round each year because Kobe always had an average. Kobe averaged 35 in a season. There's no reason to do that. There's no reason for it. I mean, Jordan did it just because it was fun. Kobe had to do it. Like Kobe was forced to. Yeah, man. Michael Jordan. There was no need for Michael Jordan to be averaging 30-something points, 35-something points a season.
I'm gonna say, well, I'm gonna just drop 69 this game.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Michael Jordan just did it because he thought he saw enjoyment in it. Like, he was like, you know what? Let me show these boys there's a difference between me and you. And so he would do things like that. Kobe was like, man, he looked to his right. He saw in the post, whenever he called for a screen, he saw who the screener was. He was like, Kwame Brown. Looked to his left, looked at the guard who he was kicking it out to for the 3. Smush Parker.
And they called him in a ball.
Looked back at Phil Jackson and was like, what have we done? And then Phil was just like,
shoot the ball.
It's up to you. It's up to you.
The isolation play call is just Kobe go. That's legit. That's what it always was. But what I definitely would say is that people should try to, instead of trying to knock the Warriors for being a jump shooting team, all this stuff, whether you think the Bulls or the Warriors would win in a head-to-head matchup, enjoy the moment, because I feel as though that's what a lot of people haven't done. I talk to Rashad about it all the time, and I've talked to Khalid about it a few times too. One thing I feel that people have let go by the wayside with LeBron James is that they don't accept how great LeBron is because you're so quick to find criticisms about him.
Exactly.
Think LeBron James has been to 5 straight NBA Finals. 5 straight.
Every team he goes to, he makes it better.
Yes, and I was arguing the case that I don't know if I would specifically say Steph Curry is the best player in the league. People are probably watching this right now like, this dude is on drugs. But
I still think LeBron is the best player.
Because if you had one player that you could put on a team and who would make that team the better team, I think LeBron's one of those guys that makes the whole team better. And I think I just never seen a LeBron team suck really, apart from his first 2 or 3 years in the season.
They were still like 50 wins.
And it's crazy. LeBron carried the Cleveland team through the finals last year and got them how many wins?
2 wins. 2 wins against the Warriors. And I don't know if I could say that if it was just Stephen Curry that he could do the same for the Warriors. You know what I mean? If I had to choose somebody to start a franchise around, and I'm taking them both in their primes, I'm taking LeBron James. I mean, granted, LeBron might not be in his prime right now, but LeBron's still the guy that we see Cleveland's record when he doesn't play. You know what I'm saying? And we've seen the Warriors record when Steph doesn't play.
We've seen Cleveland when LeBron left.
Yeah, you know, exactly. It was putrid.
Where was Cleveland?
I mean, even Kyrie Irving came there. He was drafted there. And they still, the highest win mark they had was about 39 wins. And LeBron, the difference in having LeBron James is legit a 20-win difference. That's how pivotal LeBron James is. LeBron James got the Cavaliers the best record in the Eastern Conference for years. Then he went to Miami. Derrick Rose led the Bulls. That's why Derrick Rose has his MVP, because Derrick Rose had the Bulls at #1 for a while, but LeBron still would knock them out in the playoffs. So one of those things that I feel like people in the moment do, they always try to look back in the past and say, well, our boys were this and that. They were great back then, blah, blah, blah. Well, these guys are great now. So how about you accept the greatness now? And for people saying that the Bulls, the Warriors aren't playing as tough competition, well, think about it like this. Back then, there wasn't as much international talent in the league. The Bulls didn't play against as much international teams and all that. So now that you have all these foreign players in the league, wouldn't you think the talent pool has actually kind of grown because there's more talent in the league?
You see Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And there's more. There's actually more teams. I think actually in that 95-96 season, that's when the league expanded and added the Miami Heat. So when you look at it, that there's actually more teams. There's more players. There's a bigger pool of players to play in. So, and then the Warriors being on the West Coast, think about how much more they traveled than the Bulls in Chicago. So it's a interesting dynamic. I mean, the Warriors are centered in, they're in Golden State in the Bay, so that's a lot of travel for them. It's a lot of travel, and yet they're right here with the possibility of breaking this mark Wednesday night. So we'll see how that plays out for them, because obviously they're not looking to tie a record. That's not what they wanted. They want to break it. You know what I mean? This is all for naught if they don't break it. That's what they're talking like. That's especially what Draymond Green has said. And Michael Jordan even told Draymond Green, if you don't break it, I'm gonna come looking for you. So we'll see how that plays out Wednesday night. We'll talk about that actually on Wednesday morning.
I feel like that'll hurt them more, honestly, than losing a championship in the moment. I'm just carrying on for Wednesday, but
we'll talk about it.
I gotta hurt them more to lose this game now than it would be lose championship.
Yeah, we'll get into that on Wednesday, but